as a preliminary matter, we'll make sure that members online can hear us and be heard. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Perfect.
And Tracy Sharkey, our zoning enforcement officer, is online also tonight.
Oh, hi, Tracy.
Good evening, all.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So good evening. It is 7:08 p.m. This open meeting of the Grafton Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted both remotely and in person, consistent with the provisions of the open meeting law, extending remote meeting protocols through, I believe, March 31st, 2027. This meeting's convening by a Zoom video conference and in person as posted on the meeting agenda found on the Town of Grafton website. Please see the agenda for details on how to participate remotely. Please note that the meeting's being recorded. Any participation will be visible to others. Anything you share on your screen will be visible and recorded and potentially broadcast later. See, anyone on Zoom, except for any public comment on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature and our administrator will allow you to speak. And all votes taken during this meeting will be done by roll call. All right, so Logan Path is asking for continuance again.
Yes, so I will let Fu speak in a moment, but I have reached out to conservation. They have not gone before them yet. Their application was incomplete, so they're waiting on some more materials to come in to determine whether the lot is within the riverfront before they can move forward with the public hearing. And I did get an email from the applicant basically saying the same thing, that his environmental consultant is working with conservation and they're working to get the final things together to figure out whether they've got to file a notice of intent or a determination or what they need to do. So he is asking for continuance due to those two issues with environment.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add?
No, that's exactly right. And I guess I just want to add that I appreciate the patience of the board, because I know that this has been on the agenda for a while. I'd like to move forward as much as I think everyone there. But I appreciate your patience on this.
Certainly. Are there any new applications?
Nothing yet, no.
So we need to pick a date, right?
Do we know how much time he needs?
Fu, do you know how much more time you're gonna need?
They didn't say, and the process, this is my first time going through, so it's kind of beyond my ability to judge. But I know that I think the next hearing for conservation, I think it's sometime in May.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna look up their schedule real quick. Give me one sec.
Yeah, and my hope is to be ready for that one.
Conservation. Their next scheduled meeting is May 6th and then June 3rd.
Do we maybe continue Logan Path to the Snow Road date with the idea that we're not going to hear anything, even if he was magically ready, but just maybe we have a better feeling for when maybe new cases have come in, there may be other just may have a better date, right? So rather than throwing a dart and picking some date that may or
Random
may
date.
not make sense.
We'll wait till next Thursday to throw the dart.
Well, but maybe we won't be throwing a dart.
Yeah.
Is it next Thursday? I thought it was 2 weeks from today.
No, it's next Thursday.
Okay. Yeah,
But
we
we
wait.
might as well.
Yeah, I mean, we may have something, maybe there's new cases come in and
Yep.
so now it's not quite throwing a dart.
Okay. So did you understand that, Fu? So we're gonna continue it to a hearing we have next week. Only because next week's hearing's probably gonna get continued and to see if I get anything else in, so then they'll have a more definite date to continue to, you too, so you'll
I-
get two more, right?
Yeah, I don't know if next week's meeting will be continued, but at that meeting, we'll continue it to, we'll
no,
have to
con-
pick a
but we'll
future
con-
date
pick
for
a
your,
Future date for him.
right.
We'll pick-
Okay, so,
And you, hopefully you have some more information by then. If not, we're in the same position we are tonight.
okay, so I need to come back next week. Is that what it means?
He doesn't have to
To,
come back, does he?
really need to-
No, you can just send me an email and we'll go by that. Okay?
okay, all right, sounds good. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
so if you can give Katrina an update like Wednesday,
Yeah, give me an update Wednesday, cause I'm out Thursday, so give me an update Wednesday what the status is and we'll go from there and I'll leave them a note, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you again.
You're
all
welcome,
right,
Pooh.
thank you.
I need a motion in a second, please.
So I move we continue case number
9:06.
906 to, I don't know why I'm doing this, I'm completely unprepared. What's the
April
date?
17th.
April 17th.
I move we continue case number 906 to April 17th at 7 PM.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. McCusker,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
Mr. Mejia.
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. 906 to 417.
Okay.
All right. Anything else before we move on?
Case number 137 would like to withdraw without prejudice.
137.
Case
Case number
914.
914, 137 Westboro Road.
We can do that at the end.
Okay.
Tracy, wait.
Yeah.
All right. So 77 Worcester Street.
So those of you for 77 Worcester, please come and sit up in these two chairs.
Okay, so I'm just going to read the rules of order. We'll have the clerk.
The one he's withdrawing,
That's 137 Westboro Road.
right?
Yeah, we're gonna do that one after
We'll do
this
it
one.
after?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Sorry.
All right, so the way we'll proceed is that the clerk will read the petition, and then the petitioner will have the opportunity to present your case. The petitioner shall present the required information, and all comments should be specific. Any opposition would have 15 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or in opposition to the petition will have opportunity to do so. Any letters received in favor of or in opposition to the petition will be part of the record and available on the Town of Grafton website. Anyone that speaks, please state your name and address for the record. The board may ask questions from time to time. However, all conversations should be directed through the chair. After all the evidence is presented, the board will enter into discussion and render a decision. At any time during this hearing and prior to a decision being made by this board, the petitioner has the option to request that the petition be withdrawn without prejudice or continued to a later date, at which time the petitioner could provide additional information favorable to the petitioner. So with that, I'll ask Ms. Reed to read the petition.
The Grafton Board of Appeals has received a petition from Amy Murray for 77 Worcester Street requesting that the Zoning Board of Appeals grant a special permit or variance to install a new sign in place of the previous non-conforming sign that was destroyed when it was hit by a delivery truck. The original sign was partially in the front setback. The new sign to replace the existing sign will be 2 feet off the front setback and 6 feet off the side setback, where the required setback is 12 linear feet from the front and side setback. The board will conduct a public hearing on 4/10/25 at 7 p.m. in Conference Room A at the Municipal Center, 30 Providence Road, Grafton, Massachusetts. We will consider this request or take whatever action is necessary, including the granting of a finding, special permit, variance, or other necessary relief allowed under the zoning bylaw. Zoning Board of Appeals, Brian Waller, Bill McCusker, Kay Reed, Peter Adams, Alex Mejia, Jiffy Thomas, and Brian Lenchman.
All right. So, turn it over to the petitioner.
Yeah, so I represent AG Signs and Graphics. We've been hired to.
Amy, I need your first and last
Oh,
name.
sorry, Amy Murray. Do you need me to spell it?
No.
Okay. AG Signs and Graphics, and we've been contracted to handle the permitting and installation of this new sign. And yes, we intended on using the existing footing, and unfortunately, the sign was hit by a delivery driver and destroyed. So we went through a little process. I was not aware of that up front, but there is a police report understanding that the sign was non-conforming and that we would be able to erect a new sign in the same location had that sign not been removed and not been destroyed. But so that's why we're here today.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McCusker.
So, I have a plot plan here from land planning that I think shows where the existing sign is. And, it looks like it's actually partially in the state right of way. I think our zoning enforcement officer cited that as well. Do we have a drawing as far as where the new sign's gonna go?
It's in there. So the new sign, you see that little round dot on that site plan where the sign is? That's where the post is for the new sign. The pedestal's going to be.
Okay, and then what, so like, that's really tiny. What are the distances off the front and side yard?
It's 2 feet off the front and 6 feet off the side.
So to the applicant, do you agree with what was just said?
Yes.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So 2 feet off the side,
2 feet off the front, 6 feet off the side, or
so I assume that's why we're here, is because those are within the 12-foot setback requirement.
correct.
All right, and maybe this should be directed to our zoning enforcement officer. I don't understand why this is here at the ZBA and not with, planning. I mean, we went through a huge effort years ago to move all this to planning. Planning has the right under 4444 to grant, it's basically changes from things including installation of signs, with respect to the minimum size, height, installation of signs pursuant to section 44259, minimum setback location. So this should be a special permit in the planning board, not here for a variance,
Well, I apologize.
in my opinion. So actually, I'm directing the question to our zoning enforcement officer who's
Okay,
here.
sorry.
Hi, good evening. Tracy Sharkey, 30 Providence Road, Grafton. The definition of structure includes signage, and they were originally going to rebuild in the exact same location. So rebuilding the existing non-conforming structure was the pathway that we went with. So I don't know if in dimensional variances or variances from the requirements, I understood to be through the zoning board of appeals.
Yeah,
So we have our existing non-conforming
I
Section.
believe we have the authority to do that through a variance, but that would not be right. First of all, we've got an entire section that separates signs from structures. And like I said, you know, the ZBA was in the business for a while of doing these sign variances, and quite frankly, we issued variances we had no right to do, not even close to the required findings could be met. And while we haven't heard any testimony here, I'm suspicious we'd have a hard time getting the required findings for a variance. But that was one of the driving factors of creating a lot of what's in section 4.4 for signs. And I do think that it's really pretty clear that, you know, under 444 special cases and relief, it discusses the planning board may grant special permit authorizing relief from the provisions of section 4.4, only as specified in this section. And then if you go to 4444, it's very clear, relief from requirements of section 4.4 with respect to the size, height, installation of signs pursuant to 44259, which is just a specific situation, comma, minimum setback, comma, location or quantity. So, you know, I don't think there's any question that the planning board can grant a special permit and is the correct place for handling this situation. I don't think that this case should be in front of us.
So are you saying
So-
we'd have to grant a variance, but the
No.
planning board can
It's-
grant a special
They,
permit?
no variance is necessary. So respectfully, I disagree with the zoning determination.
So lawfully existing structure, and the sign is considered a structure under our definitions in the zoning bylaws, 342. Any reconstruction shall be governed by the following. So it would be a special permit to reconstruct an existing structure with the footings.
But it's the year lapse, right? Is that the,
Right. Correct.
it's because it wasn't within a year, it can't be rebuilt, correct?
It would have been rebuilt as of right.
I don't think the fact that there was an existing sign there precludes or actually excludes 444. I don't, when I read 444, I'm not seeing anything about this only applies to new signs or does not apply to existing signs. You know, I'm sorry, I respectfully disagree. And maybe I just have a lot more history on this. Peter, you were around when this was going on as well. But this idea of the ZBA granting variances for signs was really problematic. And that's why a lot of work went into this, to create a bylaw that basically moves signs to the planning board, where quite frankly, it makes more sense. Right? Generally, signs are dealt with as part of the site plan process. It made a lot more sense to just let the planning board deal with that. And then even this case is probably should get into things like sight lines and impact of traffic and things along those lines. These are all areas where the town planner is, has a professional staff and is in a planning department deals with these things. It just all around makes a lot more sense for the planning department to handle this. I just think that it's wrong that it's here. And I have a feeling that the applicant's gonna have a heck of a time coming up with the required statutory findings for a variance.
And so, I mean, that was my thought that, and knowing nothing of the, honestly, I wasn't aware of the whole history
Yeah.
of that.
It was awful.
But I was trying to figure out any possible way to get to these findings, and I don't think we'd be able to. For us to grant a variance, because it's a very high burden, for us to do that. But the planning board is able to do this.
Well, they have a lower threshold of findings. They don't need, for example, I mean, so why can't you put it 12 feet off the side lot line and 12 feet off the front lot line? Why can't you put the sign 12 and 12?
The idea is that we were replacing the existing sign. We wanted it to go in the same spot. It makes sense where it is, or where it was, rather.
I don't necessarily disagree with that,
Yeah.
but to get a variance,
Yeah.
right, and as I explained to a lot of people for many years as I go through this, when you're requesting a variance, you're actually requesting permission to break the bylaw. Okay, so we have a bylaw says 12 and 12. And you're asking for permission to ignore that, right? So the state provides a mechanism to do that. It's called a variance.
Yep.
But there's extremely high thresholds, right? And one of the things you need to show something unique about the property that makes it so that you can't follow the bylaw. So,
Be completely honest with you, I thought we were pursuing a special permit here. I didn't know I was going for a variance.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand what a variance is, and it's permanent, and it's in the record, and, I understand that, but I thought that we were going for a special permit.
well, the determination from the zoning enforcement officer, it appears they need a variance. So,
Because when the sign was taken down, when we started looking into this in detail, if it was under the ZBA, you had 12 months to apply. The accident happened in 23, so you would have had to come before us in by September of 24 to get the permit for the sign. And the construction has to be done within 24 months. So that's why.
Okay.
Well,
So,
they wouldn't have need to come. They could have
well,
done
no,
it
but
as
now,
a right.
yeah, I mean,
they could have applied for a building permit as a right.
yeah, as of right, and not have to do anything, had they done that within the 12 months of the accident. By right, you could have applied for the building permit and it could have been granted.
My name is Maulik Kumar Patel, and I'm manager of Grafton Liquors. And this took so long. It's just because of the insurance company. I was just waiting to get the money before I apply for a new signage. You know, this is the more timing. It hurts me, like
Right.
you know, because for a whole year I had no light in front of my parking lot.
Right.
People were like thinking like, oh, I'm closed, you know, and I was losing money. And because of those insurance company, it's just took me so long. I'm still without the sign, you know. So that's why it's hurting.
I
You know,
get that, yeah.
this is the way. I mean, that's why, because it's so late that I couldn't apply for within a 24 months, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. But understood. Unfortunately, the law doesn't allow for exceptions like that. I don't know where we want to go with this. It sounds like the applicant's not even prepared to try to discuss required findings for a variance.
What I would suggest would be, instead of withdrawing the application at this point, continue it, and you can speak to the planning board
Talk to Fiona.
before withdrawing the application, and then, based on discussions with the planning board, you could just send Katrina an email and say you'd like to withdraw
Okay.
this application. But if you withdrew it tonight, you'd have to start the process all over again. So if we just continue it, we're not making a decision, we're just leaving it pending.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I would ask our zoning enforcement officer to take a closer look at section 4.4, and you know, consult with Fiona as well, our town planner. You know, I understand the approach that was taken, considering it a structure, but I think that we need to just take a closer look at 4.4 signs, and then hopefully we get to the same point.
Tracy Sharkey, I will absolutely do that. I think that the definition of structure needs to be modified to remove signs if we're going to use structure and throughout the zoning bylaw. Non-conforming structure can be extended, altered, changed only by special permit by the zoning board of appeals. So I will absolutely speak with Fiona regarding existing signs that want to be reconstructed that are in dimensional violation.
Actually, this is no longer an existing sign. It's gone. It's gone past a year. There is no pre-existing sign anymore.
There's a footing, the footing structure is still
there.
within the ground, and under signs, the definition of sign structure includes the footings, so.
So wait a minute. If a sign gets damaged, if somebody throws a rock and breaks the sign, does that have to be fixed within 1 year?
Yes, if it's non-conforming,
Really? So if somebody breaks the light bulb inside the sign, that has to be fixed?
no, not the light bulb, not the light bulb,
If I
the
throw a rock
structure.
and damage the sign, does it have to be fixed within a year? No.
It would have to be something structural.
Well,
we're talking the structure, and this sign particularly is not even on the property.
That's a whole different issue. That's not,
It's within the right of way.
but that's a different issue.
So this is more conforming than it previously was for the reconstruction, and it's always been planned to reconstruct it within the property lines
Okay.
from
so
the first application that was submitted by the applicant.
my point is this. We're saying that the 1 year has elapsed to rebuild this sign. But we're also at the same time saying the sign still exists. And I'm not quite sure I understand why either the sign exists or it doesn't. And if a sign still exists, such that we're doing a section 6 special permit, then it seems to me that they can just repair this sign that's already there and they're just doing a repair.
because the footing's there.
Because if you're saying that because the footing's there, the sign is still there, and that's why it needs to be a section 6, then
They would like to relocate it.
If a house
So that was
burns down,
presented.
huh?
They want
It was presented to me relocated, not utilizing the existing footings.
If a house burns down and is not rebuilt within the time period, the fact that the foundation of the house is still there doesn't matter. Any sort of rights they had are lost if it's not addressed within the time frame. And I feel that's the situation here, or it's not. It either is or isn't. It seems like we're kind of straddling two different things. I'm going to stop. I think we need to just take a closer look at this and come back.
So, Tracy, are you saying that there's a conflict though in that language
Absolutely, there's a conflict. Yes.
where there's overlap with the definition of structure and sign?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a conversation. I'm sure Dave Robbins would love to get involved in that. And he'll do a great job with it. And matter of fact, I think Dave would explain why there either is or isn't, they don't feel that way. But I think that's a conversation for Fiona and the planning department. And if there needs to be a correction within the bylaw. But again, like I said, I don't think that it precludes section 4.4 from applying.
Okay. So, I want to ask the applicant, are you requesting that we continue this to a future date?
I mean, I would assume so, and then at your recommendation, talk to zoning or planning?
Planning.
Planning, okay,
I'll email you Fiona's information.
okay, okay.
Yeah. And then, so we do have to pick a date now. Unless we also continue this one to next week.
Because she would probably have an answer from Fiona by Monday.
Yeah, you'd be able to
Okay.
get in and talk to.
Okay, so just like the last case, we'll continue this to our meeting next week. And if there's still uncertainty, at that point, we'll continue it to a further hearing
Okay,
if you don't let us know that you're withdrawing the application.
okay,
So you won't have to come next week. You'll just have to let
to- yeah.
Katrina know.
I'll give you a call on Monday.
okay,
Okay, and I'll get you Fiona's information. I'll email it to you tonight before I leave.
perfect.
Okay. So I need you to verbally request to continue.
Oh, Amy Murray, and I'm verbally asking to request a continuance.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McCusker.
I move we continue case ZB 913 to April 17th at 7 p.m.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. McCusker,
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Mejia.
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Continue to next
Thank you.
Thursday.
All right, I'll email that to you tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank
You
you.
might want to consider consulting a land use lawyer where this is so confusing, but that's up to you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Tracy. This was educational for me.
I'll stay on for the next one, just in case there's
I
any
hated
questions.
signs.
So the next one they continued or requested continuance.
No, they request
No,
withdrawal.
withdrawal.
Oh, withdrawal.
We still have to open case 914. I don't know if we need to read legal. But it's still,
Yeah, we still need to open it.
We need a motion to do that? They're not here.
no. I think you just can declare it open in case 914.
All right, so case 914 is open. And entertain a motion to accept the request to withdraw the application.
I move that the zoning board of appeals allow case 914. Who is it? I should usually name it.
137 Westboro Road.
Yeah, 137 Westboro Road, whoever it is, to withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Case 914 is withdrawn without prejudice. So the only other thing is the minutes, right?
Mr. Chairman. The only item I'd shared with Katrina was in the motion to grant the special permit for case 912. Remember, we went through pretty exacting discussion of the dimensions, and I think it was 8 feet 3 inches instead of 8.3 feet, and 17 feet 2 inches instead of 17.2 feet.
Yep, you're correct.
And hopefully the decision reflected this.
It did. I corrected it on the decision. I just didn't catch it in the minutes.
So why did we continue? Snow Road requested a continuance without,
Yes,
okay.
they didn't have their
They
stuff
vaguely
ready yet.
recall
They did not have anything ready yet.
Yeah, because this was February 6th when we had these meetings are from.
Did we sign Mylars for Adams?
Yes, you
So-
did.
So maybe that should be reflected at this point.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because we talked about it, but not, if we actually board signed Mylars or something like that, maybe
Yep.
it should be reflected here. Wow. Was I at this meeting? 'Cause I have like no
February
Yes.
6th.
recollection of it.
Yes,
Your name's on here.
It is, it's all over it.
I know. How soon we forget, right?
Oh my God, it's terrible.
And for the March 27th minutes, do we need to say that we signed the Mylar?
That wasn't necessarily part of a meeting.
That was just, you guys were all together, so
You just had a sign.
I just
Never
had you
even
sign them.
opened the meeting, so.
All right, so it sounds like we're done with February 6th, so I move we accept the minutes of Thursday, February 6th, 2025 as amended.
Second.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. February 6th is accepted. A motion to accept the March 27th meeting.
I move that we accept the minutes of Thursday, March 27th, 2025 as submitted.
Second.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Any other
No,
issues to discuss?
nothing at the moment.
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
You'd think there'd be a lot coming in, cause it's getting, you know, spring is
I've
coming.
gotten a lot of phone calls, but nothing yet.
Nothing, really?
We're getting a lot of phone calls on ADUs, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
I second that.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes, we're adjourned.